Hello everyone, welcome to Chemistry Eduhub channel. Today we are going to talk about the ionic bond which was proposed by the scientist Cosell. So the definition of ionic bond is the electrostatic force of attraction between two oppositely charged ions. That means one is positive and the other is negative. Between two oppositely charged ions formed by the transfer of electrons. Is called an ionic bond. Ionic bond is also called as electrovalent bond because the valency here in this bond is called electrovalency. So the definition is the electrostatic force of attraction between two oppositely charged ions. One is positive, the other is negative. So when do we expect this electrovalent bond or ionic bond? When the two atoms are there, ionic bond is formed between the two atoms. Ionic bond is formed between the two atoms where one atom has to be more electronegative and the other atom has to be less electronegative, or you can say low ionization energy. That means one should be ready to take electrons, the other should be ready to lose electrons. Only then you can see the transfer of electron. So this happens in 3 steps. Ionic bond formation happens in 3 steps. What are those steps? First step is the formation of cation. Formation of cation from a metal atom. And the second step is formation of anion from a non-metal atom, because non-metals generally have high electronegativity and metals generally have low electronegativity and low ionization energy. Now the third step is combining of two ions to form molecule. Let us understand this with an example. So the example that is considered here is NaCl. So NaCl formation, let us see. Sodium combines with the chlorine gas to form sodium chloride. So sodium atomic number is 11. Its electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. So this is the valence electrons present in the valence shell. So there is only one electron in the valence shell. So sodium has the valency equal to 1. That means it will readily lose this one electron present in the valence shell. So after losing this one electron, what is the configuration it is going to get? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, that is 2,8 octet configuration. So sodium loses one electron, becomes Na plus, and it turns from 281 to 28 octet configuration. This is the first step of NaCl formation. The second step is consider chlorine, where the chlorine atomic number is 17. The configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. Now the third shell is the valence shell. Now that valence shell has 7 electrons. So here there was only one electron, so it readily lost that electron. But since there are 7 electrons, it is better to gain one electron. So it gains an electron and becomes Cl minus. So now it was earlier 2, 8, 7 configuration, 2, 8 and 7. But here it will be 2, 8, 8. The valence shell is getting now the octet configuration. So sodium is stable by forming sodium plus. Chlorine is stable by forming chloride ion. But ions cannot be left individually like that. What they do, they try to combine and neutralize the positive and negative charges. Now what is the third step? Now the third step is to combine these two ions. Na plus combines with Cl minus to form NaCl. So this way ionic bonding is possible. Now let us discuss the properties of the compounds which form ionic bond, that is ionic compounds. So ionic compounds are generally crystalline solids. They are usually in the form of crystals and hard. This is because of the strong electrostatic forces of attraction. Because we studied that ionic bond is formed between a cation and an anion. Between the two oppositely charged particles, the attractive forces are very strong. They are called electrostatic forces. Now because of this strong force, the existence of the ionic compounds is in the form of crystalline solids. So when you touch a table salt, it is going to be having crystal form with sharp edges. Okay, they have high melting and boiling points due to the strong attractive forces. Since the attractive forces between the cation and anion are very much strong, to break the bond between them, we need a lot of heat energy. Hence, they have high melting and boiling points. And ionic compounds are readily soluble in the polar solvents like water. Water is polar because you can write it as H plus and OH minus. Similarly, ionic compounds also you can write it as cation and anion, and hence their natures are same, both are polar, and ionic compounds are readily soluble in polar solvents. And they act as electrolytes. Electrolytes means when they dissolve in water, they release ions and hence they conduct electricity. Suppose if you take salt water and place some electricity in it, then you observe the conduction of electricity. So they conduct electricity in the aqueous solution. What is aqueous solution? If you make a solution using water, then you call it as aqueous solution. What is fused state? Directly if you heat the salt and convert into liquid. Liquid without water is called fused state. In both the cases, you see the ions formation and hence they conduct electricity. And ionic bond is non-directional. What do you mean by non-directional nature? If you write sodium chloride and Cl minus like this, the positive charge and negative charge are not satisfied. So instead, how do we represent? Around the sodium ion, we write various chloride ions like this. Since the negative charge or the positive charge is in all directions, ionic bond is considered to be non-directional and hence they are not exhibiting isomerism. What is isomerism? They do not exist in multiple forms. NaCl can be written as only NaCl. You cannot write it in any other way except for the NaCl form. Such property is called isomerism. It is absent in the case of ionic compounds. And if you consider the chemical reactions of these ionic compounds in the solution, they are very fast because they form ions, and between the ions the reaction takes place very fast and the reaction completely takes place up to 100%. No reactant will be left unreacted. This is about the properties of ionic compounds. If we have to discuss the important questions from this topic is completely very much important. This question is like a gunshot question in every exam. So where you see where the question can be asked like what is an ionic bond, you have to give the definition. Then the formation of ionic bond with 1 or 2 examples they might ask you for 5 marks. Or in short, they can just ask you 5 properties of ionic compounds for 5 marks, or 3 or 4 properties of ionic compounds also can be asked for 3 marks. And the formation of ionic bond with example for 3 marks they can ask you. So either of the questions for 3 or 5 marks, mostly 5 marks question is a gunshot question from this topic.